Today we are fitting a sub. Welcome back, YouTube people. I said a couple of videos ago when I went out for a drive in the Focus that I could do with having a bit more bass, because I like my head unit, but obviously the speakers don't provide bass. So today's video, excuse the gloves, I've been working on the Supra, I will be installing a subwoofer into the Focus. So I've got a subwoofer already because I came out of the Supra, but I've got a new wiring kit, or part of a new wiring kit. So we're going to fit that today in the Focus, and we're going to have mad bass. So that is the plan. So I'll be fitting the sub in my ST. So let's have a look in the boot. Good. Oh shit, I forgot to empty it. I'll do a take two. So today we're going to be working on the Focus. Have a look in its boot. Okay, it's an empty boot this time. That was a fail. I'm gonna fit my sub in there. So let's take a look what we've got in our wiring kit. So tie wraps, yeah, don't care about them. Bag of terminals and connections. Here's the good stuff. Oh, there's tie wraps everywhere. Are we done for tie wraps now? So let's undo this. So we have RCA Leads. They're to connect the audio from your head unit to your amp. This one is speaker cable. Now the only reason you'd use this is to connect your amp to your sub, or if you're going to connect your speakers to your ECD player. I think mine's actually attached inside anyway, so I won't actually be needing that, but some of you might need it for your own kit. I'll show you my sub in a second. It's an active sub, which means that the amplifier is built on the back of it. This is the power cable, 4 gauge, nice and thick, really helps deliver the amps. Personally, if you're fitting a sub, I recommend using 4 gauge, don't bother with any of this freaking 10 gauge or 12 gauge crap. You'll get a lot better bass if you use a thicker cable, and I recommend a minimum of 4 gauge. So we have 4 gauge there, and then we have the earth cable, which is 4 gauge, for some strange reason been tucked inside there. So there's the 4 gauge earth cable, which you need from your amp to earth to your car. That is just some like trunking, just so you can hide your wire in the actual engine bay. And this one, but not at all, is the remote cable. This is what comes from your head unit to your amp to turn your amp on. So very messy, but that's the wiring kit. On the end of your power, you're going to have one of these, which is a fuse holder. As you can see, it's attached on that bit of cable there. So you have a fuse holder with your fuse inside, and then you'll have another little bit of cable just like that that goes to a terminal. So I've got a terminal in there, I've got my 4 gauge cable, so I'm not going to use this, I'm just using this to show you. I'm going to make a new one. That is our wiring kit. So the sub's quite a cheap, nasty one with the looks of it. It's, crikey me, it's an Edge, which is a Halford special. I've turned it the wrong side, turn it round that way. There we go. You can see it's got its amp built in, class A, B monoblock amplifier. It's not going to be a very high wattage one, but it's just enough to get some bass into the car. You can see we've got our terminals and we've got gains and stuff like that all in there. RCA's go there. High import, no idea what that is for. Bass boost, frequency, amp protection. Then you've got your ground, your remote, and your 12 volt that go there. And there's a fuse built onto the actual amp just there. So that's what we're going to fit inside the car. This will be connected inside to the actual speaker, so I won't need to connect any speaker cable to it. Some of you may have terminals that come off of here that you need to connect into, the connection in the back of your sub. But this one, because it's active, don't need to. I've moved the car across to give me more room that side so I can open the door and pull the power cable through. So I'll pop the bonnet. I'm going to start with feeding the power cable through into the passenger footwell. So I need to strip out some panels in the footwell and then pop a hole in the grommet in the engine bay. So let's do that. I'm in the footwell now, and I need to pull this panel down. I think it's just a case of, untwisting that one, untwisting that one, and does it come down or is there more? Oh, I need two hands. This lifts up, and there's some little slots just there. You lift it out of them slots, and it drops. So give me 2 hands. I'll be back in a second. So I pulled this fuse box down now. As you can see up there, there's a hole, which is a grommet, and that's where I'm going to feed the power cable through from the engine bay. At the back of the engine bay, on the bulkhead, is that grommet, and you can see that there's a hole just above it that I can put my power cable through. So I'm hoping I can do this all with one hand, but we'll find out. Put my screwdrivers there, grab my power cable, find the top of the grommet, which is there, and push, 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 push. Look at that. With a bit of luck, that may have come through. I can see it, I can see it, I can see it. Yeah, look at that. That's probably one of the easiest power cable installs I've ever done. Ever. Really easy. Just going to pull the rest of it through now and leave just enough in the engine bay. Now is to get the remote cable from the head unit, and I'll run them together. I'll run them both powers with the main power cable down the side of the car. So I'm not going to pull it, I'm not going to tuck it in the trims yet until I've got the remote cable, so I'm going to do that next. So for my head unit, I need these cables because I've not attached them yet. Because on there somewhere should be the ones for the sub. I'll figure them out when I'm in the car, so obviously they connect into them. And then I need this blue cable for the remote as well. I'm going to take these terminals with me, so I can connect on the terminals if I need any of them. I'm going to take everything with me. I'm going to take my crimps with me, or that they're currently in the Supra, so I have to get them out. So I'm going to get all this into focus, pull the head unit off, and then we should be able to start doing this bit. Touchscreen, as most of you've probably seen by now. It pulls off the dashboard like so. I need another hand to pop the trims off of the... Oh, can I do it? Oh, one more. There we go. And then that should untuck off that button at the top. There we go. I'm going to rest that, put my car in gear, to remember that for later. I'm going to rest that there so I can look at all my cables. But I need to connect some cables in, you see. I'm going to need to connect this bunch of cables in. There is a plug just there, a white plug, that plugs into them. And then I need to work out which my remote cable is. That one there, that's my remote cable, so that blue cable I showed you earlier on, and we need to connect into that. And then I'm going to wire them. Going to go down through the dashboard, across the bottom of the glove box, and then underneath that panel and down the side of the car. So that's what I'm going to do now. So I've just took my head unit off for the time being, just because I don't want to like damage the screen or anything, especially with leaning on that gear knob there. At the end of the day, all the wiring I'm doing is for wiring that's currently there, so I don't need the head unit. At the end, I'll just plug it back into the head unit, and then it's done, sort of thing. So for now, I've just removed it just to make things easier and safer, and so it don't damage anything. So there's the main loom for the car that I've shown you before. A remote too. Can you have another amp? I don't know. That's the one I will be using there. Amp cont is what it says, so I assume that's continuous power. Them two there look like for the RCAs for the sub, but I believe, from what I've been told, they're actually for that auxiliary plug just there. So they plug into this wiring room as well as. So while I'm there, I'm going to connect that in, but they are not my RCAs for my actual sub. So let's look at this pile here, and let's see if we can figure out what's what. Camera power. That's if I put a reversing camera on this car. If you want to see that, let me know, and I'll do a reversing camera video. So what I will use is I'll use the rear right out, rear left out for the sub. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do, because other than that I can't figure out how to do it. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to use like a bucket and spade connection, which comes with it, which come with my wiring kit, to connect them two together. I pushed the remote wire down there, as you can see, and it's come out into the footwell, so it's now with the power cable. So what I will do is I'll tape them together, and then I'll run them down the side of the car. But first I'm going to connect these two together. Like so. I'll plug that one into that. like so. Now personally, I'd rather use the bucket and spade connection, because they give me the bucket, yeah, but that there's like a fork or whatever, them two-prong things are called. They don't stay in there very well, so I'm going to put it in there, squash the clamp, and then I might get a bit of electrical tape and just put it around just to help it stop, you know, popping out sort of thing. But that's them got terminals on now. So these RCA leads I'm going to fit just like I did the remote. I'm going to tuck them down that hole there, so they come out into that footwell, and then I can use the tie wraps, etc., to hold them up out the way of the pedals and then run them down that side of the car. So I'm just going to push them down now, and then I'll show you once I've tucked it through. And that's as simple as that. So now I can pull these RCAs through, and it'll leave me just enough room inside there to obviously plug into the head unit, well, plug into the wiring loom. So I've connected the RCAs to what I've got as rear left and rear right. Remember that I'm putting on these leads the red to the blue and then the black to the white, so I can put them to the right polarity on the amp. I'm not 100% sure, I'll be honest, until I actually plug it on and test it. I've connected those two RCAs together for the auxiliary cable that's in there. Thank you to the subscriber who told me that. Yeah, I've only got this single pin for the sub. I'm hoping someone will be able to tell me that one, because that's new on me. I think that's how it's going to need to go. It's certainly going to send sound down, because obviously they're for like rear speakers, so I'm pretty confident that that should work. I'm going to connect this back into the back of the head unit when I'm ready to test it. So right now I'm just going to leave it loose like that whilst I run the cables down the side of the car to the back. So I need to make sure that these cables stay up out of the way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run the remote cable and the power cable across the top of that fuse box there, and then down behind this trim panel. That way it'll hold it up out the way. So that's what I'm going to do now. Lay them across the top of there, push the fuse box back up, and that'll hold them out the way. So they're now tucked up, and I can just feed these behind this trim. I'm going to push the remote in first and the power behind it. That way the power cable will stop the remote from dropping out. So I need to do this down the full length of the car. Depending on the car you're working on, you might need to like unscrew the trim panels or something like that. But this one I should be able to get away with just tucking behind it. So I've tucked it all the way underneath and behind the actual rail. So I'm going to carry on tucking it underneath the rail there where the seatbelt is, bring it up out this panel, and then bring it out under here. You can see a previous owner had a sub and they've had the earth cable there. Now it's not a bad spot, to be fair, and I might earth it in a very similar place, but I want to earth it off the big bolt, not the little thing, because I've got a big cable and that's a crappy shitty little thing. Did I just swear? So I'm going to do that. I'm going to tuck that out of the way. So I brought the power cable out just near that seat belt bolt there. Reason is I can't get behind it because it's flush with the body, so there's no room. So I've run them there to where there's a hole in the back, which is just behind that seat belt clicker. There we go. So then now in the boot, I am going to disconnect that earth just so, you know, less weight, bro. I've just added a really thick cable. Yeah, less weight because I'm removing something smaller. So that is the power cable running to the boot. So now I've took that remote cable and the power cable in all the, down that side. I'm going to do the exact same this time. Holding the cable above the pedals, might need to tie wrap it to something, then tuck it down the trim all the way into the boot. So that's what I'm going to do this time. So there we have 3 of the cables in there. We just need to put the earth cable in there now. And we're going to do that by terminating the piece of cable first, because it's got no terminals on it, and then we're going to connect it onto one of those big bolts that we've seen on the seats. You just need to terminate your, make it a bit straighter. Terminate your earth, that goes into the amp. I need to put the terminal on there that connects it into the car, and then I also need to terminate the, I need to like put the fuse holders and that for the front. So I'm going to cut a bit of the cable off the front, the power cable, so I can make this power cable section. It doesn't need to be too long, because at the end of the day I've only got to connect onto there. So I want to cut the cable about here, take it back in the garage, and I can put the fuse holder in that on. So we've got our bulb holder, and we've got the cap that goes at the end. Now it's an Allen key. I've undone the Allen key to undo the grub screw, and it's given me this little piece of metal. This will be used if you was using a thinner gauge cable, but we're not. We're using this 4 gauge cable. So the 4 gauge cable can just go, I've twisted the end, you can go straight inside there, So I've pushed the power cable into there, and I've also pushed the rubber just inside as well, so it's almost like watertight now. Then it's just a case of tightening up the grub screw into the cable. That's so it grabs nice and tight. Oh, there we are, nice and tight. Don't go too tight because you'll just like cut through the cables inside and it'll fall off. So that's one end done. This bit will have a terminal on that will connect to the battery. So I'm going to connect the terminal onto this now. I'm going to cut this rubber off with the knife, get my terminal, hammer my terminal on, and this bit will be ready to go onto the car. So this is the terminal which came with the wiring kit. So I'm going to cut this, like I said, and I'll push this on, squash this clasp, tape it up, stick the cover on to make it watertight, and then this bit, as I said, will be ready to go into the car. Just whilst I remember, before I actually put the terminal on, this bit for the fuse holder needs to go over your cable first as well, like that, so it locks in. If I'd have put my terminal on, I wouldn't have been able to get that on, and this is what holds the fuse in and screws into that to hold it in. So remember to do that. So when I do the bit on the car, I've got to make sure I put this bit on first. The hammer and the punch isn't the ideal tool, but you know, ba 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 ba, and it's on. Although I have forgot to stick my cover on. Ta-da! That's the power cable done. So I now need to go and connect this one on to the power cable that's still inside the car. So I'm just going to undo the grub screw, get rid of that little cap, take my knife with me, and I'll be able to. So I'm going to go and do that. Make sure you stick this on as well. So there you go, that end is now attached. Just a case of adding the fuse and connecting the power lead onto there and securing this cable out of the way, which I'll do last once the cover's on. So in the boot I need to terminate the power cable and the remote cable so we can connect them on to the amp. So I'm going to attach my earth cable now. I've got some 240 sandpaper to sand away the paint. Earth cable. So now I'm going to get into the back of the car and show you. I've gave it a sandpaper to take off the paint and that, to try and make it the best earth I can do for the size of it. I'm not very confident about it, but it should work for the time being. So it's tightened down, nice and tight. The other earth cable's off, the crappy thing that it is. So pull that cable into the boot and we'll get it all connected to the sub. So we have all the cables now in the boot. It's time to connect it on to the amp, and then we can put the fuse in the power cable and connect it to the battery and we'll give it a go. Let's start with the nice and easy ones. The RCAs. Black to the black, or black to the white as I've done it, and then I've got red to the blue, just like it's the same at the other end. The remote cable goes under REM. I've got one that says REM, that's REM. Power goes to the plus 12 volt. I'll tidy all these up later, these are just a test. Goes to the ground, GND, but I'm going to have to turn it around now and get a lot closer. So here's our battery terminals. We've got 12 volts plus there, remote in the middle, ground, then you've got your settings and then your RCAs. So I'm just going to put the power cable onto the battery, put a fuse in, and we'll give it a whirl. So I'm going to connect my power on here, onto this 10mm. I'm making sure I don't take off the lead. Is it going to let me? Yeah. I don't want to set the battery off because I don't want to turn off any power to the car. Put the washer back on, and then no. There we go, one more time. So our power's connected, it's tight. Put the fuse in, the power cable's running through. I know it's loose, I haven't finished there yet, I just want to check everything works. So I don't have the ignition on because I want to put my CD player back in, or my head unit, or whatever you want to call this thing. So I'm just going to connect the cables and then I'll show you and we'll give it a bit of a test run. Let's see how we get on. So I've got the keys, CD players in, head units in, whatever you want to call it. We are going to try. It's weird watching myself. I love this tablet, it's amazing. Yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe, as that smart man's saying. I want to get to the music bit. The sub's working, by the way. No, skip in. Come on. How long was this bit of the video? Oh, here we go, here we go. Gonna get music. I can play this music because this music is... No, go away. Yeah. Yeah. Look how good that carbon strip looks from carbonstrips.com. Yeah. Bum bum. Bum bum. Yeah. You can just... I don't know if you can tell it on camera, but you can hear it. Bum bum. Green light, look, green light. My camcorder's died, so I'm going to finish this video with my phone. So, well, up there, like that. That's it, and I push that box on. There we go. That's better. So that's all now attached. Everything's all put back together inside the car. All the cables are hidden. No rubbish left over. Move around to the boot. I just need to tuck my cables away and secure the sub. So the sub is actually sat on a piece of Velcro tape. I thought about having the sub facing the seat, but I don't know yet. I could do it. There's enough play in the wiring to turn it around. But at the moment it's facing that way, and we'll see how we get on with it. So I think this is a job well done. So we've fitted the sub. The subwoofer is now installed. It's in the boot, as you've seen. All connected up. Sounds brilliant. If you have any questions with this video, just please leave a comment below in the box, and I will get back to you. It's not a problem. It's been a long video, but it's took quite a few hours to do this. Yeah, I'm really happy with how it's turned out. It sounds amazing. I just need to fine tune now all the bass settings and stuff like that. So that's going to take a bit of time because I need to set it up. But it's in, it's working, all the cables are in. The only thing I'm going to do, I will change the connection on that earth lead, just so, for peace of mind really, just so, because it'd be better. The better the earth, the better the quality of the audio that's going to come out of it. So, thank you very, very, very much, guys. I really appreciate it when you watch my videos and give me a like in the comments. You know, I really appreciate it. If you're new to the channel, if this video has brought you to the channel, let me know. You know, if this is the sort of thing that you like, let me know what sort of videos you like, and I'll try and tailor more videos of that sort of thing. So thank you very much for watching. If you want any of my merchandise, you can't see it. I'm wearing my, it's cold, a little bit cold even though it's sunny. I'm wearing my Bluedy's Garage. Why can't you see my logo? My Bluedy's Garage top. I got hoodies and t-shirts. Links in the description for the shop. Thank you very much. I will see you in another video. Bluedy out.